My female 40, now ex-boyfriend Keith, 38, and I had problems because of his constant pranks. He has a thing for making his targets look ridiculous. I warned him many times that I was not a forgiving person and that he was undermining my trust. He laughed it off and I kept giving him chances because he has redeeming qualities. He's funny without pranks, acts like a good listener, and generally shows me deference. However, I don't know why these traits began to fade. It shifted. I don't know if showing him love made him think that he could do this. We never had fights, although we had disagreements, and I tended to clam up if I was really hurt. This happened twice. The first time was very out of the blue. We attended a gala hosted by our city council. I'm using the quotes gala because this isn't a huge city and galas are looked forward to, but are not the high-class, upper-class, inaccessible type. He liked how they treated us. I was the actual guest and he was my plus one, and asked me if I could help him get an interview as he wanted to launch a small business and maybe they would be interested. I made no promises but got him a meeting which I attended along with him. On our way back we stopped at a deli and ran into my ex, with whom I'm cordial. Keith was enraged because I answered my ex's greeting, saying I was too friendly and that it was disrespectful. That lasted for about 10 minutes. We sat at my place to eat our takeout and he immediately said very inappropriate things about my best friend. I immediately called him out for trying to make me jealous. He laughed at first, but I asked what was funny, so he left and took his food. We talked about it later, but a few days later I realized he never adequately apologized. Secondly, he criticized my outfit and said I looked ridiculous. I should have dumped him right there, but chose to put it in the back of my mind because I already had a lot on my plate, career and family-wise. I also hoped that we could go back to how things used to be. I could never shake off that feeling of being hurt, although we seem to have reached a very stable phase after that. He started with his pranking ways again. First, I caught him trying to hide the birthday cake that I got for my friend. Then, he hit the gas pedal a few times when I was about to get in his car. Last week, we were at his mother's house for his birthday party. Everything felt pretty normal until everyone got really quiet. It was just weird. I looked at him and he immediately took a knee. This was the worst feeling. First of all, we'd not reached the stage leading to an engagement. Second, I thought it was likely a prank, but I didn't know how to react. I don't know if he told everyone that he was about to propose and if they were quiet in honest anticipation, or if they knew, or maybe some of them knew. If he had been honest, I wouldn't have said no in front of his family, so I would probably had to say yes and then say no in private. If it was a prank, then he would have humiliated me in front of over 20 people. So I asked what he was doing and he said I was seeing him and that I knew. I said no, I didn't know, so he insisted. I said right, asked to see what was in the box and would react accordingly. The fact that he looked off, maybe realizing that he'd messed up, maybe wanting to double down but I'll never know, was a huge red flag. He opened the box and had a beer can tab in it. I told him off right there. I said that he took a knee to give out junk just like he tried to suck up to people to try and get them to sign up for his tacky, insignificant LLC so he could push his trash services that he hardly knows how to do. I also mentioned how he lost his job twice and said I fully understand why he couldn't afford a real ring. I asked him if he honestly saw me marrying a man-child. His family was offended. Some of them looked uncomfortable, but some of them acted like I went overboard. He tried to apologize, but I informed him to stick it where the sun don't shine, and that we were done. Needless to say, it was a crap show. I had no exit plan because I didn't know that I would have to walk out and I didn't have my car. So I had to walk with his cousins following me and to convince me that he didn't mean to hurt me and that it was dangerous to walk home alone. I had to walk for about 30 minutes to find an Uber available. I made a Facebook post explaining why I did what I did and that I couldn't see my future self with the scumbag. His brother's girlfriend and I have a good relationship. I find her to be very honest and reasonable. She reached out to check how I was doing and to let me know that neither she nor her boyfriend had anything to do with it and that I was right to be angry. She also said that while she's never gotten along with Keith, this is true, ousting him as a workforce failure in front of his family was too much and that his family was thrown off. I asked what she thought I should do since I wouldn't do anything to make him feel better and that's that, and that if he ever tries to contact me, I will make sure things get even more painful, if that's even how he feels. To be honest, I'm embarrassed. I stood up for myself, but I guess I went overboard and maybe I should have just turned around and walked away. Was I extra for this? Good for you, not the idiot. He wanted to humiliate you and you just Uno reversed him. They can all screw off. You told him not only to not prank you, but that you're not forgiving. He assumed the risk, messed around and found out. His family wouldn't have admonished him for humiliating you, so why do you owe any feelings of guilt? The prank was clearly designed to embarrass and disappoint you, playing off the idea that, as a woman, you should be thrilled by a proposal, when really it was just gross manipulation. You called him out on his behaviour, and while exposing his failings in front of his family might have been intense, you weren't wrong to stand up for yourself. He started it and he forgot the golden rule. Don't start none, won't be none. I think you did him a favour. If he doesn't grow up now, he never will. This is his chance to apologise to everyone and show true remorse by changing his life around. Anything else from you on the evening in question would make you a facilitator. Seriously, all she did was tell the truth about him. If the truth upsets them that much, maybe they should be looking at why he's such a useless idiot and question if maybe his constant pranks and crap are a sign of a bigger maturity problem. 38-year-old man, baby, and doesn't understand that pranks are only a prank if everyone laughs. Otherwise, it's bullying. Good riddance, I say. I'm 28 female getting married this year. Yay. And I went on my bachelorette party trip last weekend. The trip was to a cabin-type setting where we all stayed in the same house. I have 3 bridesmaids, but I also invited some friends to come along. Out of the group is my brother's girlfriend, 36 female, brother is 38, of 5 months, who isn't in the wedding party. She wasn't initially invited because I didn't know her well and they lived in another state. But my brother asked me to invite her as a favour to him. He said she's never been invited to a bachelorette and likely never would be. I have no idea why, this is just what he told me, and hoped she could have this experience. Since people would be paying their own way and the group wasn't large, I figured why not? She seemed nice enough. The problem is that she would insist on crocheting all the time during the weekend, even during our events and games. When I asked her to participate with us, she said she took time off for the trip and wanted to make the most of her vacation by catching up on her crochet projects, and that playing games and hanging out with my friends wasn't fun and she didn't want to waste her days off. All her words, not mine. To be clear, I don't care that she wants to crochet in general. Most of our activities ended after dinner anyway and we just hang out in the living room. I just asked her to save the crocheting for the night after the activities. My issue is that she was taking her crocheting with us to places like wine tasting, brunch, a museum tour, etc. It was disrespectful in my eyes because she insisted on coming, yet wouldn't participate in the activity. Honestly, I was bothered that she was crocheting when we played bridal games, but at least that was in our living room. The trip is over now, but apparently she was super peeved that I asked to limit her crocheting time, and my brother's been pestering me to apologise for ruining her trip. I don't think I should, because she shouldn't have come to a bachelorette party if she didn't want to do bachelorette-y things. But I also love my brother very much and I don't want this to come between us. I'm starting to doubt myself because his girlfriend sounds really annoyed with me. Am I the idiot? Edit, she was crocheting a throw blanket about the width of my arm span. That's what she was carrying with her to dinner, museums, wineries, etc. It wasn't some small thing the size of my palm. She also had the materials for the blanket with her, about 5 balls of yarn. I don't know what you call it, but each ball was about the size of a cantaloupe. We gave her the option to stay home. I told her I wouldn't be offended if this trip wasn't her style and she wanted to spend it crocheting, but she insisted on coming out with us to every single event. Even though my brother asked me to bring her, she admitted that she wanted to come and that she'd asked my brother to ask me. She doesn't have social anxiety, she just thought our activities were boring and a waste of her time. I overheard her calling my party a basic witch bachelorette, but I didn't want to confront her because I didn't want to cause drama. My biggest issue isn't that she wasn't giving me attention. I'm a grown adult and already thankful for the friends giving me love and joy during the weekend. I just thought it was super rude to crochet such a big project during group activities. She literally brought her blanket to a museum and crocheted during a private tour. You're not the idiot. As someone who's currently also crocheting a blanket, who the heck does that on vacation? On a bachelorette vacation? Who the heck brings a project that big to a museum? And a wine tasting? Dear Lord, she actually asked for the experience. This woman is out of touch with reality. Basic witch bachelorette. How the heck would she know if she's never been to one? You just found out why. Not the idiot, and the excessive crocheting in inappropriate places makes her the rude one on top of the insults. Next time she asks to be invited somewhere, tell her it's a basic witch-only event. I had a stepdaughter who did this during one of her visits. She was in her late teens. I had multiple other family members in town and spent a lot of time planning the events for the week. We had 2 middle schoolers at the time, and there were other children, both older and younger than her, extended family outings. Her yarn game was knitting, and it went everywhere. Zoos, theatres, restaurants, parks. Just walked around trying to carry a knitting bag and knitting pot holders everywhere we went. It was disruptive because she would drop a needle, change yard skeins, sit down and fiddle with everything holding things up. I thought I was going crazy until I realised it was totally passive-aggressive behaviour against us and was designed to draw attention to her. I completely understand your frustration and would explain to my brother that she was definitely not getting an invitation to the wedding. I'm a 22-year-old female and my boyfriend is a 29-year-old. I'm an only child, so I never had little kids around me growing up, and even though I have little cousins, I've just never been attached to kids like that. I was totally opposed to having kids because I just never liked them, but my boyfriend has helped me change my perspective a lot. I'm not closed to the idea of having kids anymore, but clearly in the distant future, as currently neither of us is ready for a new baby. My boyfriend's children are between the ages of a kindergartner and pre-tween. They're charming and funny, and I get along very well with them. Every day I strive to build a good relationship with them despite not being a child person. I currently live alone and I quite enjoy my space and freedom. I have plans to go to college, but I currently have 3 jobs and I'm definitely an outdoorsy person. My partner currently lives with his mother and grandmother, who help him with the children, but they're both moving to another state soon, and my boyfriend and I have talked about moving in together this year when my lease ends. Keep in mind that we've only been dating for 3 months so far, and at first it didn't seem like a bad idea until I started to realise that he expects a lot of things from me regarding the kids that I don't feel ready to assume, because so far I'm not against spending time with them and helping him out when he needs me to, but without being responsible for their daily well-being. And when I told him recently that I don't feel ready to be a mother and that I don't have my own kids because I'm literally not ready and I don't want that responsibility, he said, "So why are you with me knowing that I have 2 kids?" And on other occasions, when I mentioned that I never eat breakfast because I hate getting up early to cook since I'm always tired from work, he asked me something like, "So you wouldn't make breakfast for my children? Or what will you do when taking them to school?" That kind of thing made me realise that maybe moving in together is not a good idea, and it's too soon because I feel that he expects me to take on a responsibility for which I do not feel ready. So am I the idiot for not wanting to stop and change my lifestyle to play the role of mother to my boyfriend's children? Run. He doesn't want a girlfriend, he wants a bang nanny. As a single dad, my first priority is having my crap together and being able to raise my child on my own. That doesn't necessarily mean no help, but first and foremost, I need to have my bases covered for when I don't have help. That means babysitters, daycare and/or nannies. Your boyfriend is a clear indication that divorces happen, relationships end. You are too young to let yourself be financially dependent on someone, especially this early in a relationship. Just don't. Don't move in. Don't be a stay-at-home stepmom for his kids. Just you. You need a new boyfriend, one who's closer to your own age and life experience. What I mean is that you're just entering adulthood and university. He's 29 and looking for someone to take on his responsibilities. You are 3 months in and he's talking about you moving in and caring for his kids. That's a giant waving red flag. He's losing his free housing and free childcare because his mommy is moving away, and he's trying to groom OP and set her up to be the new replacement mommy. He needs a woman to rush into a relationship because he has nowhere to live and no one to take care of his kids. He probably can't afford to pay his own bills and wants a woman to pay the rent. He probably can't afford daycare and wants a woman to be free childcare. That's why he's rushing the relationship. That's why, 3 months in, he's begging to live with her and trying to set her up for expectations of being the primary parent to his kids. Because he wants off the hook financially and child labour-wise. He probably had his mom paying for everything for his kids and doing everything for his kids, and now he's looking for a replacement mommy for himself so he doesn't have to lift a finger or pay a dime. She needs out of this situation ASAP. He's planning to suck her dry and use her up to make his life cheaper and more convenient. My ex-husband, 40 male, and I, 36 female, share 3 kids, tween female, and tween male. Since our divorce, my ex has remarried. His wife Janie, 38, has 2 of her own kids, a young male teen and a pre-tween male, who she has full custody of. So they've made a very blended family. I have a partner, 43 male myself, but we don't live together, so he's not directly involved here. The problem is my kids dislike Janie, my girls more so, and they feel like she tries to play their mom and push me out. They have mentioned specific incidents that led me to address the concerns with my ex, and after a while of this, it strained things between me and them, ex and Janie. They told me they didn't believe me and said I must be the reason the kids were causing trouble at their house. They never specified what this trouble was. At one point, after things got bad, my ex admitted to me that the kids had complained about the same things to him regarding Janie, and he wasn't telling her. This landed us back in court and into therapy together for co-parenting. In our therapy sessions, Janie complained about me and said she feels like I refuse to accept she's now also a mom to my kids and wants to ruin it by making up complaints. She said anything the kids say isn't real and is just kids trying to stir crap with the adults. During the discussion about this, I brought up my ex and how the kids complained to him also, and he told me as much. This started a fight between my ex and Janie. It derailed the session because they walked out to deal with their marital issues. My ex is angry at me for throwing him under the bus like that. I defended myself, but he said I could have approached the rebuttal differently. Janie accused me of trying to break up her marriage and being a part of stirring crap between everyone. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. People like this do not care for reality, only their perception. You did not get him in trouble. He lied to his wife through intentional omission, and you did not owe him secrecy. In fact, given the court-ordered therapy, the truth needed to come out. You only owe your children your support and advocacy, not your ex. Janie is creating the problem here. Why should you have to pretend she's not? You didn't ruin anything. You just told the truth, and it's not your fault that it exposed cracks in their marriage. Keep advocating for your kids. Hopefully, therapy will help them realize they need to listen instead of dismissing their feelings. My ex and I broke up 5 years ago, and we're all still on good terms. Opie's ex caused his own mess by not being honest with his wife, and his wife caused her own mess by saying that anything the kids say isn't real and claiming that she's a mom to someone else's kids.